Welcome everyone. How is it going? Let me know if my audio is coming in clear. A really impromptu Tesla Power Hour today. In fact, so impromptu that I actually forgot myself that the Fed meetings are coming out in a minute here. Let me know if my audio is coming in clear, city, state, country, whatever you guys feel comfortable sharing. I actually didn't choose this time. I see Marcus in the chat. I didn't actually choose this time because of that. But it actually worked out really well. Tesla, in case you missed it, up 5.6% on the day here. It's quite, I mean, obviously a great day, but let's see what the market has to do here. I'm going to pull up the NASDAQ's ticker here instead. I'm going to pull up my Twitter. So let's stay locked and loaded on the FOMC minutes. I'm going to also try to pull up CNBC if that's okay, and we'll kind of go through what they're talking about. We got a lot to talk about in terms of South Korea, FSD V11, deferred revenue on that. There's a lot happening. So let me just pull up my CNBC here so we can pull up some live reaction. Yeah, let me know in the chat where you guys are tuning from. I'll read some out. What's FOMC? It's the Fed minutes. So a couple weeks back when they met and they increased the Fed fund rate, we get to finally find out and be a fly on that wall a couple weeks ago and see what their thoughts were, not just what the end result was. So I've pulled up CNBC.
Investors will look for clarity on the pace of the future.
Oh, so they're about to go into an ad. How's it going, folks? Matthew, Karsten, shout out Karsten as well, DMing me this morning to go live, kind of giving me the inspiration to. Nate, Axel, Richard, how's it going, my friend? Hillary, how's it going? Juju member here. I'm here. You can start now, says Paulo. Atlanta, Georgia. I'll give it a second here so I can read out more. Okay, look at these candles coming in here, folks. Hey, we got so far just kind of a nothing burger net result, but we are trended higher here. For sure. Ben from Sweden, how's it going, Ben? Paco from South Africa, how's it going, Paco? We are trending higher, folks. Tesla specifically, $180.38. Sacramento, Roger from South Carolina, Germany, near Mannheim. Who's watching FIFA today, by the way, as well? I think Canada's playing today. Sweden, Europe, Sacramento, Hyderabad, India. There we go. We got a global audience here. Oh, there's a little NHL trade here. Interesting. Thankful for you, Zeke in Wilmington, North Carolina. And by the way, if you're watching on replay, feel free to throw in the chat as well. 181 folks. We're rallying here, 6.5% on Tesla. So I'm guessing that. Okay, so here, hold on. Pull up the CNBC report.
Where the Fed is going is more important than the pace that it gets there. Many participants said the effects of the rate hikes were, quote, still quite uncertain. Some of those people are in favor of either lower rate hikes or slower rate hikes. Many participants said the full extent of policy tightening was, quote, yet to be realized. Risks to the inflation outlook were high, tilted to the upside. Recent inflation data was higher. Remember, this came before the recent November. The meeting was before the recent October inflation report that came out in November, but inflation at that time was said to be more persistent than anticipated. Tentative signs of labor market moving towards better balance, and we've heard some officials talk about seeing some signs of slowing in the labor market. Risk to the economic outlook, however, were weighted to the downside, particularly due to global headwinds from China and the Russia-Ukraine war, and they were seeing softening in consumer and business spending growth, although I have to say we got data this morning that leaned against that idea of business spending slowing. And of course, some important information here on the Treasury market. They saw the function of the Treasury market being orderly, an important assessment, given that they are shrinking their balance sheets. The higher mortgage rates were notably restraining housing activity. One other thing, several participants said tightening global monetary policy could spill over to the U.S., and we heard that from Mary Daly last week, who said that was one of her reasons why she thought there was maybe more tightening out in the economy than is in the actual funds rate, because in part of global tightening as well. Tyler?
All right, Steve, I'm going to ask you to stick around because I've got questions. But let's get some more reaction to the Fed minutes and what it could be telling us about the path of rate hikes. And to do that, let's bring in Michael Gaypen. He is head of U.S. economics with Bank of America.
Folks, we're rallying higher. We are rallying higher. Check this out.
I see in my notes that it says
$181.
from these Fed minutes
29
to
cents.
be hawkish on net. Does that seem to be what you're hearing there, even though a substantial majority support a likely slowing of the pace of of tightening
Morgan Stanley.
relatively soon.
I think it does. So first of all, thank you for having me on. And I think given Steve's comments there, we would agree it's more about the destination now than the journey. So the on net part, in my mind, is yes, there seems to be widespread acceptance on the board that they should slow the pace of rate hikes. A wide variety of reasons suggest that, as Steve mentioned. But it doesn't really change where most FOMC participants think the terminal rate should be, with most of those comments coming in either at the very high 4%, if not a little above 5%. So maybe in the range of 4.75 to as high as 5.5 for some. So on net, yes, I think they still have a lot of work to go, although there's reasons to slow the pace of rate hikes from here.
Yeah, and I'm going to turn back to you, Steve, and note that the Dow has just moved up 130 points. It can move down 130 points in another second here. But it would seem to me that if I were reading what we're putting on our screen, many participants said full extent of policy tightening yet to be realized, but that the pace of those rate hikes may be slowing a bit, that would explain why equity investors are favorably inclined.
Yeah, I think folks might have been geared up for a more hawkish set of minutes here. I'm not sure it delivered. I don't think it's dovish. Don't get me wrong about that. I think people would make a mistake, Tyler, if they took the idea of slower to mean lower. And picking up on what Michael was saying, 5 is the new 4, Tyler, when it comes to the Fed. I'm hearing people like Mary Daly say 4 3/4 to 5 1/4 being her sort of outlook for the peak funds rate. I think, you probably take that pretty seriously. As Michael said, there are people up near 5.5. The Fed's going to slow down. Let me give you what you need to know. Tyler, repeat this after me. 50, 50, 25. That's how the market is priced for the next 3 meetings. And I don't see much change. I want to get a fresh look at the probabilities here. 81% chance for a 50. In December, a 76% chance of a 50 in February, and then a 52% chance of a 25 in March, and that would be the end of it. So 125.
That'd be the end.
Here.
Oh,
still
almost
work
there.
to do. We are closer to the end of this process if inflation cooperates, if employment were to soften, but there's still a ways to go. Don't mistake slower for lower.
All right, and we are seeing the yields moving lower now as well. Michael, when we're talking about one of the last notes that Steve had said here is that several participants noted that tightening global monetary policy could spread to the United States. Is that a risk to our economy? How would it work?
Well, it certainly is a risk. Historically, during periods when many, or in this case, almost all central banks are lifting rates, you do risk spillover effects. I think the risks of that have come down a little bit, particularly as dollar strength has abated.
Okay, let's move on. So these notes came out pretty good, and I've pulled it up on my Chrome here. Thanks, T-Mac on Discord, sending me this. So I'm just gonna pause the chat box for a hot second. Most Fed officials saw slower pace of hikes appropriate, quote, soon. Federal officials at their meeting earlier this month concluded that it would be appropriate to slow the pace of rate hikes, signaling the central bank's leaning toward downshifting to a 50 basis point hike in December. Quote, a substantial majority of participants judged that a slowing in the pace of increase would likely soon be appropriate, unquote, according to the minutes from their 1st and 2nd of November gathering. At the same time, various officials concluded that the, quote, ultimate level of the federal funds rate that would be necessary to achieve the committee's goals was somewhat higher than they previously expected. Now, why is the market going up on this news? I guess market likes the general pace of slowing down rate hikes. But folks, I mean, like, if at this point you didn't realize that the Fed had to slow down rate hikes, like, it was so obvious, right? And so he's saying, this guy on CNBC saying it's 50, 50, 25. That's the signal. Obviously I'm not in America, so I don't have context on this, but I had a therapy session yesterday with my mortgage broker. I have a renewal coming up in February for a property, and I'm looking at, because here we can't fix things for 30 years like you guys can down in the States, and we're kind of debating as to like what are the options, what are rates really going to do. And at least up here, the general consensus seems to be within the banking community that in December we'll probably get another Bank of Canada hike, and then from there we're pretty much close-ish to the top. So, and the market is, generally okay. Like, I guess you could say it's kind of a nothing burger. The market was up, the NASDAQ was up 50 basis points before these notes, and now they're up 86%, or 86%. Boy, do we need that. 86 basis points. Tesla, though, is actually showing about a 1% increase here after these notes. So, penalty kick for Canada. Folks watching soccer. I don't watch soccer. I don't know. I love playing soccer. I loved playing soccer. I just never got into watching soccer. Hockey is my only thing. Let's see. CPI in December, Alex says, is going to come in really cool. John saying, I buy from over 1,000 suppliers in the aftermarket auto parts. Very few are raising prices any longer, and just as many have had prices decreases recently. Makes sense. Especially during, that's the whole thing with the recession, right? If all of a sudden now it's an existential problem for businesses to find demand for their products, well, you're going to have to lower prices, and that's deflationary, of course. So I think the central governments are really just waiting for this recession to come up. No score. Griffin's keeping us updated. Thanks, Griff. Okay. Let's do it. So let's look at the general broader market. So SP is up 40 basis points. Now, NASDAQ is up 70 basis points. Apple is pretty much flat on the day. Amazon up about the same as the NASDAQ. So we talk about relative strength, and I'll pull up my auto watch list here. Polestar, let's just say less than 1% up. Rivian up 2%. Honda flat, Toyota flat, Lucid flat, Xpeng up 3%. So some Chinese strength today, folks. NIO up 5%, Tesla up 6.4%. Again, in my video, and let me know if you watched it. Let me know if you watched it in the comments. In my video of 3 reasons why Tesla stock is weak, my first reason was China and the COVID risk. So today, seeing the sort of strength that we're seeing, or maybe it's short covering, I'm not sure, in the Chinese auto, and I'm bucketing Tesla there loosely for now, goes to show maybe there's some sort of update that we're not privy to just yet. It's just slow hockey without skates. I've never watched soccer ever, really. Okay, sorry. Of course, I've seen soccer. I've never sat through a match or something. Just I have ADHD, and I don't think I could do it, to be honest. It's just, and one problem is the game of soccer can end in a tie. I never liked that, right? I never liked that. Oh wow, a lot of trades going on here in the NHL too. Interesting. Okay. Thank you, Kenton. Appreciate that. Soccer's best if you have a team you love. Yes, I don't. As a Canadian, I don't think really our soccer team has been historically that great. Apparently this year it's good enough to get into the FIFA. I don't know how that happened. Alfonso Davies is a legend here, a local legend. That's right, Griffin. Yes. $181 sitting on Tesla here. So we got a lot of news to cover. I'm going to try to cover it here. Now, first things first, V11 is coming out. Omar tweeted, this appears to be the biggest push of FSD beta ever. Wouldn't be surprised if we're approaching 200,000 users in the US and Canada by now. So if you don't know, Elon tweeted back at Omar about, by the way, should I get Omar on the channel to talk about FSD? I feel like I should probably reach out to him. Elon replied to a tweet. Where is it here? As you can see, the majority of his tweets have been about Twitter. Let's see what else we got here. I gotta really go in, hey, to find. I don't even know where it is anymore. Anyways, I guess you gotta just trust me when I say Elon replied to a tweet asking if FSD is still ready. Oh, right here. Wow, look how far I had to scroll for that last tweet. That's crazy. Whole Mars catalog asking FSD Beta 11 still looking on track for release to customer testers before Thanksgiving. Elon said, yeah. So that's pretty cool. I mean, Thanksgiving is when is Thanksgiving for you guys? Is it Sunday of the weekend? Or Thanksgiving Monday? I'm not. It's this weekend. So obviously it's coming up here very shortly. FSD Beta 11 is going to be huge. I'm excited to see what the classic Tesla testers have to think about FSD V11. It's tomorrow. Okay, yes, Thursday. So, I mean, wait. So, okay. So the market is closed tomorrow, and then it's going to do a half day on Friday. What? I think we have to have a reshifting of how we think about holidays. Can we just tack on the long weekend for you folks there? It's like, what? Come on. Who wants to work a half day on a Friday? That's just nuts. I suppose a lot of you guys probably are taking the Friday off as well, or maybe getting it tomorrow. You guys are making fun of me. Thanksgiving was on a Monday in Canada, so that's why it was on Monday, October the 9th. I just Googled it just to make sure I'm not crazy. So this is huge, and I think actually Gary Black tweeted about deferred revenue this morning. I didn't save it, but I probably should have. More Twitter stuff here, election stuff, Twitter stuff, buyback stuff. Okay, here. Gary says, I would expect Tesla to recognize a one-time deferred revenue of $1 billion in fourth quarter when FSD V11 is released broadly in the US at year end. Most analysts will back it out of the earnings per share as a one-time. The ongoing FSD take rate could increase once EV buyers know that they can use FSD immediately after purchase. This is definitely true. One thing, though, that I just don't get this. Why do analysts back it out when it's a one-time deferred revenue, but they never backed it in to begin with for all of the preceding quarters that had that revenue or had that deferred revenue on the balance sheet? It's like you can back it out, but you never even accounted for it to begin with. So just nuts. But this is huge. Drop a comment down below. If V11 comes out, now, again, there's going to be a lot of ifs in this statement before you answer this. If V11 comes out, and for all intents and purposes, you're seeing reaction on the Tesla FSD space of like, wow, this is like incredible. It's a huge step change up. Will you buy FSD if you have a Tesla today and you don't have FSD, or will you subscribe to FSD subscription? Leave it in the comments down below. Because it's true. I think people that don't have FSD currently, that see FSD V11 and they go, wow, this is it. Will they try FSD even with a subscription? And this is why I'm pushing for subscription up here in Canada. I've had people message me and be like, Yash, push for subscription. We can't get subscription up here in Canada. And it's very annoying that we can't. Does subscription get beta? Well, this is the thing. Today, and this is, someone correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is you can get the subscription package today. You'll get your safety score. If you maintain that safety score of 80 or more, you should get FSD in let's say the week following that, right? I think it's a 1 week timeline. So in theory, yes, you can get beta on subscription. And so that's why I'm wondering if V11 comes out and V11 is sick, do subscriptions explode? And I've done like back of the napkin subscription math. Subscription revenue is the subscription business just gets nutty. We talk about nutty. It gets very nutty with the subscription revenue because almost all of that is on the bottom line. It's like AWS almost. There's no variable cost really to subscription. Safety scores are gone in V11. Yes. So today there are safety scores, and you have to go through the whole shebang and the hoops to get it. But actually, I retweeted this out, saying this. By the way, I probably should share this. You only get to pick one of these for the rest of your life. Which one are you choosing? Biscuits, rolls, crescent rolls, cornbread. I saw this graphic online, and I was like, I have to pick. I think for me, if I had to choose one, it's probably rolls. Okay, but I digress. I said, in the midst of all the Twitter noise for Tesla investors, Elon just dropped a bomb. FSD V11 next month will no longer require safety scores and will open up to all purchasers. Huge revenue recognition likely here too. I made sure I had the likely in here because I'm not entirely sure. My understanding from this was that FSD V11 would get rid of beta, But there's smarter minds than I that disagree, and they say, look, it's still going to be beta. It's going to be under beta. It's just that anyone can get it under beta now. Rolls, crescent rolls. See, the crescent roll stuff, I just look at it like Pillsbury dough, fast food. I don't really know who would pick that. No offense. Biscuits, crescents. Like, is that a thing down south? Like, is in America, is that a thing? Crescent rolls? That's not really a thing up here. Croissants are 100%. Like, yes. Croissant was my answer originally when I saw that. I was like, oh, these are croissants. Like, what are crescent rolls? Are they just Pillsbury croissants? I don't make the graphic. I can't. So Griffith says, I think so too. You can request to be in the beta still. It's not auto if you buy FSD. That's my understanding as well, right? Bahadir, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Juice for the win. Shahab, is that you running a marathon in that? That's awesome. Look at that. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. I'm gonna leave this up. But here's the thing. Oh God, why am I getting so many alerts? Okay. If it's not beta anymore and it's just under the umbrella of FSD, well, now essentially accounting wise, you just look at the revenue that you have collected for FSD and you say, we've delivered on it. It's officially delivered, right? We promise city streets, we promise red lights, we promise right turns, left turns. It's delivered. If it's under beta, I feel like the accounting department or the accounting firm essentially would look at that, and the regulators would go, "No, this is still deferred." So I'm not entirely sure. I still think that you can start recognizing it because I think there's a chance to get rid of the whole beta thing after this. So I guess I don't want to spread this around saying it's not beta, but I guess that's the implication that I'm kind of sort of reading into it. Well, okay. It's probably not the right implication though. The more I think about it, it has to be beta. But does the fact that it's still beta, but anyone can get it, allow them to recognize that revenue still? Just thinking out loud here. When comes V4, even with subscription to upgrade? Version 4, like you mean supercharging V4? Don't know. We just got a lot of our superchargers upgraded to V3 here recently. Was V4 even supposed to really happen? I think I heard about Elon talking about it one time. Yeah, but regardless, this is good, right? Like we can dilly daddle on the little details here, but overall, it's quite nice to see that we're having some sort of progress here with version 11. And so I guess that's Elon's. Was this not Elon's general promise to the end of the year to be open for everyone? That's great. What comes after it is what I want to know. Oh, hardware. Well, everyone thought Tesla AI Day was when we were going to see hardware 4, but we didn't. The problem with that is, well, then you open up a Pandora's box of questions around it. Like, if people with V3, can they not get robotaxis one day? Like, do you now need V4? I think Cybertruck is probably the push for that, in my opinion. Yeah. 181.51 said non-Tesla here. DRK says, hope everyone's having a great Thanksgiving, great time. Yes, indeed. Everyone's kind of in the holiday spirit, it seems like. We've got the Christmas tree up, although it's not decorated yet. To be fair, we had that up a couple weeks back. We're just that type of family. I've been playing Christmas music as ambiance for the last, since Halloween. Really. You can't really go wrong with it. 181.56 said non-Tesla. Okay. Let's pull up here. So what else we got? Let's pull up Chrome. So another piece of news that we got. Should we talk about? Actually, let's talk about this first. City analyst Itay Micheli, has upgraded Tesla to a neutral from a sell with a price target of $176. This is the first time in 4+ years that Citi hasn't rated Tesla a sell. Quote, we're upgrading Tesla to a neutral as we believe the year-to-date pullback has balanced out the the near-term risk to reward, I'm guessing. Look, what does the pullback? This is what I don't get from analysts. This current stock price should have nothing to do with your price target on a stock. What the stock does or has done year to date, why should that affect what model you put in for revenue, for EPS, for shares outstanding, for moat, for human capital at a company, for competitive edge? What does that have to do with anything? That's just my gripe with this. Anyways, I'll kind of read the note here. The analyst comments, quote, "We're upgrading Tesla shares to a neutral from a sell as we believe the year-to-date pullback has balanced out the near-term risk to reward. Key points: 1, with the multiple contracting to 30 times next year's EPS, we feel that some of our prior baked-in expectation that we didn't agree with are out of stock. 2, though our latest model update leads us to reduce near-term EPS estimates, we still find ourselves slightly above the consensus for Q4 2024 EPS. 3, to be sure, macro competitive concerns are likely to remain an overhang. There's the word. Take a drink. With capacity rising. But as we've previously written, in a hard landing scenario, Tesla's long-term competitive position likely also improves to potentially further be enhanced by the Inflation Reduction Act. To that, our updated price target of 176 versus 141 previously ascribes a modestly higher multiple to reflect these advantages." Okay, fair enough. What do you guys think about this upgrade? He ranks, so Randy, pull up his rank here. Actually, Randy, I can pull up your comment here. Hold on. Formatting is a little bit off, but it's okay. He ranks 7,957 out of 8,112 Wall Street analysts. Actually, I have tip ranks proven. I could probably pull that up too. But, I mean, facts only. The overhang, yes, I know. But we also got some news around this. So again from Sawyer, our Tesla breaking news consultant. Breaking, Elon Musk reportedly said on Wednesday that South Korea was among its top candidates for location for a giant factory as it plans to build in Asia for making EVs. According to South Korea's presidential office, Elon Musk reportedly made the remark in a video call with the president. Quote, quote, "We expect to buy components worth more than $10 billion from South Korean firms in 2023 as we significantly expand supply chain cooperation with the South Korean companies," the office quoted Elon saying. Yoon said in a discussion he'd reform unreasonable regulations that hindered investment by global tech companies. He added that the government would continue to its effort to attract investment from high-tech companies to enhance the country's competitiveness. I think this makes a lot of sense from a Korean perspective. It's strategically, it's in a very good area of the world. There's a lot of good skilled labor there. Obviously, a really busting global tech scene there. More so than India, almost even, especially on more of the hardware. But I guess that's debatable with Apple going into India now. But I think South Korea makes sense. What do you guys think? Randy says, "I heard South Korea has major union issues." Interesting. Well, I mean, one of the problems with India really has been the import tax in India. It's just nuts for these cars. It just doesn't make any sense. So I think Elon. By the way, this news makes me very bearish on Giga Canada. I have to say that. The fact that this is coming out, and I know they could build multiple gigas at once, done it before. I just don't think this news would be really percolating if this wasn't supposed to be some sort of a pressure point on Canadian government bureaucrats about this new Tesla Gigafactory. I just think this doesn't bode well for Giga Canada. And this is why I've been jaded on Giga Canada for a while. I'm very excited for it. Don't get me wrong. I like talking about it. But I've always said, until I start seeing some general traction and actual pen on paper with a lot of the stuff, I am just going to think we're just being used for leverage. Japan makes sense too, says Mark. Yeah, I mean, Japan makes sense. Kinda. The problem with Japan is I don't think they have a lot of skilled labor, but they have a great auto market already. But from an EV perspective on tech, debatable. You get a giga. Everyone gets a giga. The Oprah of gigas. I mean, I can see there being a giga in Canada, there being a giga in South Korea. What happened to the giga in UK? Who remembers that? How's it going, Mimi? Yeah. DRK says, I'm here for it. As so many are worried about China, they would have the talent and suppliers. Yeah. China is worrying, but it always has been and always will be, not because of the people there. The people there are awesome, work really hard, debatably almost too much so. The people there are very nice. It's just the government and the general rules and regulations that companies have to go through. But, you know, Elon has had it pretty good with the CCP. Cross my fingers. I mean, it's in terms of rolling out the red carpet, other than Elon, who really gets that treatment in China, maybe Tim Cook. I mean, who else? Gary keeps mentioning UK. Yeah, I've noticed that. Gary doesn't mention Giga Canada, really. At least I haven't seen it. Maybe I'm not looking hard enough. But I've noticed he says Giga UK. He'll say other gigas, but he won't really, and he'll say Giga North America, but he doesn't say Giga Canada. Maybe he doesn't buy those rumors either. Maybe that's what I've noticed. Okay, you know what? Hold on one sec. If anyone wants to come in to the stream, ask a question, say something, feel free to. I just tossed it in the comments here. Gary doesn't like Canadians. That explains it. That explains it. 100%. Totally unfounded for sure, right? I was also watching Dave Lee's interview with James Dauma. I should have Dave back on the channel. It's been a while. Has anyone watched all of this yet? I'm just starting this now. Anyone have any cool updates? I guess we could even watch this together a little bit. But are there any timestamps? I guess there's no timestamps, but hold on. Wow. Shout out Daniel in the comments. Put all the timestamps in here. Let's
go
listen
to the
bit.
first one. It says, enabled FSD beta on highway. This unifies the vision and planning stack on and off highway and replaces the legacy highway stack, which is over 4 years old. The legacy highway stack still relies on several single camera and single frame networks and was set up to handle simple lane specific maneuvers. FSD beta's multi-camera video networks and next-gen planner that allows for more complex agent interactions with less reliance on lanes
Shout out to James's shirt, by the way. The robots are coming. Shout out Farzad.
Make way for adding more intelligent behavior, smoother control, and better decision making. All right. So what's your kind of, overall take on this first point?
10,000 foot level, the single stack is about bringing everything together and not having separate AP and FSD stacks in there. I think there were multiple FSD stacks before. There might only be one FSD stack now. I was actually the most interesting thing I about the note where they were talking about the single camera stuff was the last version. Like I haven't seen an FSD, network maps for quite a while. I used to look at those things from time to time. And the last time I was looking at it, they still had single camera stuff in FSD. So that implies there's no single camera stuff in FSD, which is good. When they have single camera, single frame stuff, then that means you've got portions of your neural network which are being trained on qualitatively different data than the bulk of your systems are, and so that adds complexity. It can be restrictive in terms of benefits that you can get. Like the more cross-pollination you get between different functions inside the thing, the better performance that you get overall. Like you get better performance out of all the features collectively for the same amount of hardware, the same compute, the same training, the same amount of data, if those things are put together.
Every time I listen to James talk about FSD or AI training, stuff like that, I just realize how dumb I am. Just humbled every time.
Together. So hearing that they've gone more towards unifying, the input, and that they've been able to get everything onto the 8-camera frame, 8-camera, building a 3D model and driving everything from that 3D model, like all their actionable stuff, instead of trying to do in-frame stuff. Like that's great news. It means that they've they've got a high level of maturity and confidence in the 3D portion of the model, that they're getting a lot more consolidation of the features and the learning. You get better interaction between the features that come off the different head. Like everything gets better when they do that. And I hadn't, even though Tesla's been showing us for like a year or two diagrams of FSD that didn't include the single frame stuff, they never did show us the single frame stuff, right? So I was always like, well, maybe they're still using it for the windshield wipers or the headlights or something. But it had seemed like there were in-frame feature, things that they were using, I think because they were legacy. And the fact, it sounds like they've gotten all that stuff out. That's great news. Like, it sounds like they're, they've managed to take a significant step away from legacy stuff that was probably holding them back and, move on.
So does that mean, listening to James talk about, this is a new stack, it's single stack, of course, and they're moving away from the legacy stuff. Does that mean we should reasonably expect more disengagements? Just like, it's like two steps backwards, 3 steps forward sort of thing with this new stack. Maybe our expectations might be a little bit too high is kind of where I'm coming at with this, because if it's a single stack, obviously there's some testing that internally they've done here in the last couple of weeks, but maybe our expectations are too high of this being flawless. Like maybe I'm reading the room wrong. Let me know in the comments, but it feels like we all kind of assume, okay, we're expecting V11 to come out and for it to be like anything short of flawless would be like, oh man, this is not good. Like I don't know. It just kind of feels like that to me, that we're going to have that sort of reaction from it. Yeah, of course we're all excited. It's going to be nutty for sure. But it's just, yeah, I don't know. We got Griffin here in the chat. He's not on video, but I think he's on maybe your audio is working. Griffin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. What do you got for us, Griffin? How's it going?
Doing good. Just watching your game, watching your team with some shots, but that's okay. They'll pull it through.
That's awesome. So what do you want to say?
I was just curious where you thought that there would actually be a place to have a new factory that would be worth it rather than just exporting and expanding from Shanghai or Berlin.
Or even Austin.
Yeah, or Austin. You mentioned, UK or Japan or Korea. But it just feels like they'd rather just double down in Shanghai and expand that way.
What do you think before you get off?
I don't know. If you go look at the markets of vehicles, it really falls off after you get to some of the big names where we already have factories right now. After US, China, Germany for European market, it really drops down pretty heavily. So it's really hard to pick.
Yeah. Thanks, Griffin, for coming on. Anything else before I give my thoughts?
No, USA versus England on Friday, and that decides if it's called football or soccer.
There we go. I like it. For the record, it's soccer for sure. All right. Thanks, man. I'll give my thoughts here. I agree. I think they're doing everything they can. Like the Shanghai Part 2 factory that was kind of rumored and kind of laid about. It seems like they're kind of working on expanding their current footprint. And for sure, at a marginal level, I think that makes the most sense. But I think it also makes sense to, at a global perspective, to have like these tentacles in other areas. I think Apple's a little bit different. I kind of look at Apple as like, Apple is predominantly only shipped out of China and it has had no problems scaling. But of course, we're talking about like cars. It's a little bit different than talking about these little phones that you can make at a factory. So I think having like, I know people in Europe, and people in the comments can throw in the chat, that are waiting for the Giga Berlin cars to be delivered to them, and they don't want the Chinese car. Although I'm hearing great reports about Giga Shanghai cars and the quality there, but I know people that want the local car. Like it's like this, patriotic, nationalistic thing almost, right? So I think Canada makes sense, man. I'm biased, but I think Canada makes sense. Our cost of labor here is lower. Our exchange rate's favorable. Tech human capital is pretty high up here. We have a lot of the resources that we need for these cars, and also we have fair trade agreements, of course, in North America. So I think that makes sense. I see people saying Giga Mexico too. I guess the answer is do everything, right? Expand Shanghai, expand Austin, expand Berlin, but also set up new factories, because Tesla has so much cash that even if they had these factories operating, it wouldn't really cost them that much, like $5 or $10 billion to build these factories that can net you know, at that much free cash flow within the first year of being operating. So yeah, if I were to bet, if I was a betting man for the next factory, even though I am jaded, I would still say Canada is probably the next one.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks, Griffin. Go Canada.
Yep.
I mean, I guess I see people in the chat here. Apple is getting out of China slowly. Yes, for sure. Apple is getting out of China slowly. They're going to India, which, you know, I don't know about that move. John says, I think Mexico is a great place for manufacturing, just a logistic location, kind of redundant now. Well, I mean, Ford does a lot of their, I think the Mach-E is almost all produced in Mexico, right? Is that right? I got my, Wolfgang said I got mine from Berlin on the 1st of September. There you go. The IRA will encourage Tesla to focus on North American investments. The IRA, don't forget, is about fair trade agreements. Now, to my knowledge, I can Google this to make sure I'm not totally stupid on air. Fair trade. I'm pretty sure the U.S. and South Korea have a fair trade agreement. So opportunities for U.S. exporters under the U.S.-Korea agreement. It was entered in March of 2012. If you're an American exporter, here's your resources, blah, blah, blah. So they have an import-export agreement with South Korea. And to my knowledge, the IRA, Inflation Reduction Act, doesn't necessarily care about North American proximity. It cares about fair trade agreements. Again, I could be wrong. Someone correct me in the comments. I'm really not going to read through the bill right now, but I think it's about fair trade agreements. So let's not forget about that. Design centers can be all around the world. I guess we're talking more manufacturing. Have we discussed a buyback? We can, if you want to. What do I think about the AOC Musk tweet video? Do you guys want to watch this? I watched like 5 seconds of it and I was like, oh my God. Should we watch it on air? Oh my God. What is life when we're spending? Okay, fine. Let's just do it. Okay. The chemistry these two have is crazy. Oh, is this copyright music gonna kill me? Maybe. I'll put it down.
I apologize.
No, he's perfect.
I'm breaking all the rules. I'm breaking all the rules.
Well, I guess we might make some mistakes. Who knows?
This is 100% copyrighted, by the way. Watch it now.
One of the biggest problems we have in DC is that everyone's egos are too big.
I actually just prefer to have no titles at all.
You're opening yourself up.
I'm just being me. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I hope that was worth it, folks. So 1 minute of copyright music that's going to take down the stream after. I love these super clip edits. I've always been a fan of these. Farzad's chat video is amazing. I'm a big fan of these super edit clips. Fun fact, I used to do a lot of these like really like random clip oriented videos. It's great. But I mean, 100%, this was not doctored. 100%. You guys liked it, eh? It's good to laugh once in a while. I mean, Tesla stock's not been so hot. We need something to laugh about. 181.67 sitting on Tesla at the moment. Blueberries in the house. Yes, exactly. Farzad, the blueberry man in the house. You know, someone, I forget who it was, tweeted at us, at Farzad and I, with AI generated merch ideas. It was like this robot holding oranges. It was pretty epic. Someone says, what's the score? Guys, it's 0-0. It's close to halftime. That's the thing with soccer. This is the thing with soccer. You can watch, you can invest, 3 hours into a game, and you can leave home none the wiser. Nothing's changed in your life. It could be 0-0 and the whole game ends. It doesn't make any sense to me. When hockey implemented the overtime shootout or the shootout 3-point game thing, it just made it so much more watchable. Yeah, actually, you shouldn't have to go offline until the game is done. You shouldn't go offline until the game is done. Well, when is the game done? Wait, how are we at halftime already? Is it halftime? Oh, Belgium just scored. Oh, interesting. Belgium just scored. Okay. Well, I got to be careful showing clips, folks. The World Cup will come after me. Remember that time when I pulled up, what was it, the TED talk that Elon was at? I literally pulled it up off of TED's like YouTube, something is fair use, and the whole stream got taken. They pretty much killed it. Don't diss football. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I know. It's I wouldn't want you guys dissing hockey. So no, I understand. I just don't like the 0-0 thing or the tie game ending thing. That's it. Like, honestly, that is it. So Belgium 1-0. That's not looking good for my friends here. But this is why we play 90 minutes, right? It's 90, right? Plus or minus the ref's discretion, which is always also funny too, right? Like the ref can just be like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to add 3 minutes in. Yeah, I'm going to add 2 minutes in. I'm just talking out my butt now. I don't really watch soccer. 1-0. Yes, 1-0 is what the Canadian says. 181.69 sitting on Tesla here. Tesla's like, Silence says, yes, no one's perfect. I'm still a fan despite your unlike of soccer. Thank you, first of all. I wouldn't say I dislike soccer. Did I say I dislike soccer? Maybe I should take that back. I take that back. I just don't like how we can end in a tie game. That's all. You think hockey games don't tie? Yes, they don't. We have the overtime, which is 5-on-5. You have a 3-on-3. You have a 3-on-3 matchup. It's one of the best things ever. And then you have a shootout, which if you haven't watched shootouts before, go watch some shootout highlights in the NHL. Once you get later in, I'm not sure what that means. 181.71 sitting on Tesla here. Let's pull up. Let's see here. Let's pull up what else we got here. Let's pull up this. Okay, so I pulled this up because I wanted to watch it. It's Yahoo Finance. Tesla stock is oversold, and that's a big tell for the market, strategist says. Let's see what the strategists at Yahoo Finance have to say about Tesla stock as of this morning.
Saying Tesla is presenting a buying opportunity as it approaches analyst Adam Jonas's bear case, a price target of $150. Citi, meanwhile, upgrading the stock to neutral from sell as it notes long-term competitiveness. Let's bring in Steve Sosnick, Interactive Brokers Chief Strategist for all things tech and Tesla. Steve, great to have you here with us on set.
So good to be here, Brad. Good
Absolutely. So when we think about Tesla and where the stock has continued to move as a result of Musk's attention that he's placed on Twitter right now.
I said this was going to happen. Everyone's going to say it's because the stock is down because of Elon Musk's attention. Called it before.
Too. What do you surmise is perhaps the next, or anticipate that the next big shoe to drop is over at Tesla, and have we already seen some of the bottoms?
I think we've seen a big drop. The problem is Elon Musk has always been spread very, very thin. He was already running a car company and a rocket launching company, and now he's running a social media company, and it appears pretty clear that he's spending much of his time on social media. Can you think of any other CEO who spends that much time on social media?
Probably every other CEO, but they just don't tweet, so you don't know it.
You really can't. Now that's a big part of his persona. That's probably what did a lot to supercharge Tesla.
It's their marketing engine at Tesla.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, this guy just said Twitter is Tesla's marketing engine.
But it's at some point you start to have to wonder. A, what has he done to the brand of Tesla because he's been so mercurial? And B, can he be focused on all these things at once? Can one human being do it?
If there's anything that I'm not worried about when it comes to Elon, it's him managing all these companies at once.
And I think the market is saying no. The other problem, remember,
okay,
let's just think about the run it had from 2020 and 2021. So we've given back a huge amount of gains in the stock, but we still have a long way from where we started just a couple of years ago.
And it's interesting the calls that are being made today, because it mostly has to do with that it's fallen enough, that it has priced in some of those concerns that you were talking about that are clearly broadly shared by the market. And with Adam Jonas saying that Tesla's getting to his bear case price of 150, it got me thinking about just these sort of...
Shout out Adam Jonas. Do you know Adam Jonas and Kogo and Leo, actually, largest Tesla retail shareholder, had dinner together? I saw a photo on Twitter that Professor shared. So, by the way, invite's still open for Mr. Kogo and Leo to come on the channel. I've invited him. He said hit me up next year, is what he said. That was in January. So time's coming up. Maybe I should reach back out to him.
Big market slumps that we have seen, and when writ large we have people coming back in and saying, okay, that's enough. I mean, we've had little blips of that.
Well, from a longer term perspective, the stock is oversold. Speaking as a longtime trader, this is oversold. This is when you do tend to step in. I find it interesting that he's stepping in before his bear case to buy rather than actually at the bear case target. But I guess preemptively, and you know, he's seeing the same stock action that I am. So you know, I'm guessing he realized it's probably not a bad place to step in as well. But so that's, to me, you know, when we in the notes earlier this morning that we exchanged, is why am I watching this as a big tell for the market? It's too big not to be a big tell. For the same reason Apple is too big not to be a big tell. Tesla's a top 10 company, and it's a big weight in NDX, and it's a big reason NASDAQ has performed so well, because it got supercharged. And you also have a lot of people, institutional and individual, who are heavily invested in the stock, and it's made them, and now it runs the risk of really being a big drag.
So if it turns around and starts to head higher in a more substantial fashion, is that a leading indicator for the rest of the market?
Yes, because I've always felt that Tesla, to some extent, is a good read on retail sentiment, individual investor sentiment. This
is true. Tesla does have one of the higher retail investor percentages in the NASDAQ mega cap companies.
It's a sexy name. For so many people, and that's, you know, yes, it got into the S&P 500, which gave it a big boost a couple of years ago. But the number of individuals who got into the stock, it's such a popular one. You know, we've seen it with so many other stocks that have been popular with individual investors. This one kind of is the main domino out there.
Steve, you mentioned Apple, and of course Apple is always a very important stock, but is now going into year-end, is Apple the most important stock in the entire market, in large part because of what we're seeing with these China COVID cases? These China COVID cases are now starting to spike. It appears to be impacting increasingly Apple's results. Apple's probably not alone here.
Well, that's really the key. Apple, you know, as I mentioned, with Tesla being too big to ignore, Apple, you know, Apple's the biggest stock in the index.
We're rallying,
and so
we are really rallying here. $182.66 on Tesla, up 7.5%.
Whatever they do has a big weight. Apple is in many ways unique because it's global. It's a consumer stock.
They're just going to talk about how the rest of them. Okay, so that was their Tesla talk. I mean, I agree, disagree. Look. Am I worried about Elon spreading himself too thin? Maybe in the short term, but remember, I mean, this guy got here because he's able to manage his time well, delegate. What he's doing currently is spending pretty much all of his waking time at Twitter, is something that I'd be worried about if we get past, let's say, a month or two of this. And at that point, folks, we are really rallying here. $183.14, up almost 8% on the day. What is happening? Who's got the juju? Seriously, we're really rallying here. Did I miss some sort of piece of news here? I want to check my Discord. Everyone in Discord usually posts any breaking news. I don't think we got any breaking news here. We are really ripping, yeah, for sure. $183 sitting on Tesla, up 7.8% on the day. I'm not complaining, by the way. This is not coming off as a complaint, hopefully, but I generally agree that Tesla does tell us about retail sentiment in the market, 100%, for sure. Elon just tweeted, World Cup traffic hit almost 20,000 tweets per second today. Great work on the Twitter team managing record usage. Okay, it is what it is. There's a whale buying Buffett. I'm not going to hold my breath for Warren Buffett, nor should he, for that to happen. Yeah, Farzad should get on stream. I think he's watching the soccer game, though. That's why I didn't really Sorry, I really didn't say anything. But Farzad, if you're available, check out the pinned comment. Come on stream if you want. I would, but I'm cleaning the house. Yeah, no. And you're probably watching the soccer game too, I'm guessing, right? By the way, invitation's open for anyone. Check out the pinned comment in the chat box. Come on stream, ask a question, give your thoughts about what's happening. We can disagree, agree, it doesn't matter. Let's see here. Yeah, blueberries for sure. Okay, $183.17 sitting on Tesla at the moment, up 7.8%, where the NASDAQ is up 1%. Yeah, you know what? We're kind of seeing a decoupling here a little bit. I mean, the NASDAQ, I guess, has gone up here, but it's coming down a little bit, whereas Tesla specifically is just rallying up. So, I mean, I'm not entirely sure what the news is here. The boy Farzad is here. How's it going, man?
I'm cleaning the house, bro.
Oh, yeah. Are you watching the soccer game?
I am, actually. Yeah, that just came halftime. Here, I'll even... if I show this screen, will it... You know what? I'm not going to do it in case you get copyrighted here. I don't want you to get demonetized, bro. How's that?
I think it'll be blurry enough. It'll be blurry enough.
You think so?
Yeah.
Do I even know how to turn this around? Let's see. How does this work even? I'm on my mobile and it's not... Anyway, I feel like I'm running your stream right now.
No, you're good.
I look like a mess. Look at my hair. My God, I didn't even check the mirror or nothing. What do you think of the Fed minutes? Did you cover those?
Yeah, we covered
already?
them. Yeah, we covered them like right when I started is when they came out.
Okay.
Pretty much neutral is like, I wouldn't even say they're dovish. They're not hawkish. They're pretty much like, hey, we should probably start slowing it. And the market's like, yeah, I mean, we probably should. So I think that there's a lot of people short maybe that we're seeing some sort of relative strength today. But even then, I can't really sell myself on that idea because NASDAQ was up 50 basis points when those were coming out. And now it's up 1%. So
yeah.
I guess you could say it's a nothing burger note, but Tesla was up like 5% when I started the stream, and now it's up like 8%. So I'm not sure where this relative strength is coming on Tesla from.
Yeah, I wonder how much of the positive minutes are being digested, and they're starting to sort of the names that have been beaten up the most in the last, say, call it 6 to 9 months from a tightening sort of Fed policy are going to be the first to rally once more of the market feels like, hey, because I was listening to a stream before I came on yours about covering the Fed minutes, and it seemed like there was some dovish language, or at the very least some neutral language, and there was some verbiage around. So the recession sort of word came up in the notes saying how, hey, the recession might be one of the things that's as likely as us potentially not having a recession, and I think that's the first time they ever said that. So it seems like the Fed is recognizing that if they go too heavy, that it could literally cause a recession. And I wonder how much of that could be leading this Tesla rally. I mean, maybe I'm being naive about it, but yeah.
But the problem is the Fed's also said that they would much rather over tighten and risk that recession than under tighten and then U-turn and pivot before it's too early. So they're kind of... And by the way, like that could just be job owning by them, because if they don't say it like that, then consumers don't change their spending habits. And if consumers don't change their spending habits, and inflation stays elevated.
Yeah.
So you have to say that. It's just game theory in that respect. But I genuinely believe them. And the reason, it sounds stupid, but the reason is because they don't own any equities anymore, these guys. These guys sold off their stocks at the peak of the market. They want the entire stock market to crash, even more than it has, man.
So they can buy back in.
100%. What I'm telling you, when the stock market crashes, or when they think it's the bottom, or when they're about to pivot, miraculously, there's going to be a new bill out that's going to all of a sudden, give it the appearance that it's more kosher what they're doing, and then they're going to start buying these stocks again. So I think that's still going to happen. But yeah, and someone's saying in the comments, the Fed has already over tightened. I agree. I think I said this on your stream last month. I said we're within the margin of error of over tightening already, and that was before. Actually, that was on the last FOMC. So this December hike, this 50 basis point, and then another 50 basis points, and then probably another 25. I mean, forget about it. I feel like this is 100% over tightening. So
yeah, it does seem like there's a lot of variables lining up. You know how in December there's usually a Santa Claus rally? I think that it's like a historical thing where usually in December markets tend to rally pretty good into the end of the year. You know, you think about the Fed language starting to soften a little bit. You think about there potentially being a slowdown in rate hikes, more signals that the economy is going into a recession, which means that there's going to be a overturn in how the policy is impacting the stock market. You have Q4 coming up for Tesla. It seems like there's a lot of stuff starting to line up that could potentially be a what the hell? Oh, it's my thing. Be a big rally for stocks. Watch this. Ready? I don't know if you're gonna hear it. Please.
I heard the beep.
There are some reminders for Farzad. That's like
oh,
the
no,
Google
I can't hear that. Don't
thing.
worry.
Sorry, I'm not ruining your stream, bro. But
no,
anyway,
you're good.
I'll let to help off here. But it just seems like a lot of catalysts are starting to line up for the story. Now, I'm saying that as somebody who knows what they're talking about. I absolutely don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but I'm just sort of throwing some stuff out there as some variables for folks maybe to think through. Yeah.
I think the Fed pivots, the Fed pausing of rate hikes is the first big monumental event to look forward to in the next probably bearish 6 months, bullish 3 months.
Yeah,
that's a big one. But the spillover effects in the housing market, everyone's still kind of holding their breath on that. It feels like it's the elephant in the room. No one wants to talk about it. It's okay, we know rates have gone up substantially. They've been here. Housing has obviously been weaker. Is it going to do what we all fear it's going to do? And that's the kind of last little bit. I think that's the most lagging effect that you can think about. So I look at my timeline as kind of between the pause to the big housing conclusion, or, you know, because as soon as you pause, at that point, okay, you know, we can start looking at stabilizing the housing market at least a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think between now and that, macro speaking, those are the biggest things.
Yeah.
That's why I also think, like with Tesla could have a robotaxi come out tomorrow. I've said, and it's like the market would be like, who cares? Like, it's just stupid what's happening.
FSD 11, I mean, seems like they are going to do a wide release by the end of the year. It is looking that way, especially with Elon's latest tweets. I know there was some conversation around. I hope that vacuum's not too loud. Can you still hear me? You hear me okay?
Yeah.
The FSD 11 sort of catalyst as well. Everybody getting their hands on it, and that leading a higher uptake of the software, which could lead to much higher profit margins into, say, maybe not the fourth quarter, but the first quarter, and how that's going to impact. You know, if there's some verbiage in the Q4 earnings call where Elon's like, yep, we went live with beta. A lot more people are taking it on because they feel like, you know, they can actually start using it, which is going to drive a lot more adoption, and our margins are going higher because of it. I think it's going to be an interesting to follow. So, man.
Yeah, so the FSD V11, we were having this debate earlier on the stream. I was kind of thinking, okay, does that kind of imply that beta is pretty much wrapping up at this point? Like, we're close-ish to the end of beta? Because some people, obviously, for good reason, think like we're not at that point where beta is going to be wrapping up and it's just going to be under FSD. You get FSD, you can use it.
Yeah.
Because that would kind of imply, okay, robotaxis are pretty much here. Whereas, like, I don't think we think that's here right now. What do you think on that?
I think it is. I mean, if FSD gets solved and it's something that more and more people are using, doesn't that imply that robotaxis run around the corner? Haven't you solved the hardest part of the equation? You know, Tesla's already a master at manufacturing. You know, they're proving their software chops in respects to self-driving. But if they are able to have something that people are using, and the customer base that's using it is 10xing, which is supposedly should make them go 10x faster and improvements and so on and so forth, because that is really what drives the improvement. Wouldn't that also imply that the robotaxi solution's also right there? You know, that's how I think about it.
And then the rollout of it, how do you start making money from that for Tesla, other than just software updating and telling everyone it's done?
So your existing fleet will make money from more people buying the software.
Right.
Your recurring revenue from the folks that can't afford whatever, 15,000, 20,000, however much it costs right now to buy FSD.
Yeah.
You start getting more from that side of the business, recurring revenue, which seems like folks that buy stocks really love. And then once your robotaxi goes live, then I mean it's no different than Uber. You'll be able to offer something that theoretically should be cheaper than an Uber because you don't have the human labor portion of the drive, and then your risks from operating the vehicle also go down because theoretically this thing's way safer than a regular human. So, I mean, there's a bunch of different ways to monetize this thing, right?
But in terms of what comes, what's actually going to be, what would be the next actual step from Tesla other than just releasing it? Like, are we going to hear an announcement from Tesla? Is it going to be like an event from Tesla being like, okay, I think we've solved it. Here's the event. Here's what our rollout plan is. What do you think?
So I think end of the year. This is a hypothesis, right? If we take Elon and Tesla at their word, December 31st, Forum comes out. You know how they do like the blog posts? They write a blog post. FSD now safer than a human. We've rolled it out to the whole fleet, right?
Okay.
Boom. And we feel confident, and I'm just trying to put my Tesla hat on. We feel confident that in the next 12 months, we're going to have a lot of data accumulated from the fleet that's going to prove that our service is going to be orders of magnitude better than a human driver. We will begin our work to get with regulators to start adopting this technology in as many cities as humanly possible to maximize the number of humans that are safe from car accidents, right? And then that becomes a whole press release that's going to be adopted widely. And then theoretically, that should be one of the best ways to drive awareness of the thing. And then I'm assuming sometime, I think you and I talked about it, sometime late next year, second half of next year, you're going to start having specific jurisdictions that are going to jump in and start working with Tesla. So say your Miami's, your Vegas's, your San Francisco, LA's, Orlando's, just pick your city, that are going to become test cases for this technology. And then once you start proving, hey, listen, our people here, they want to go downtown from 30 miles out or 20 miles out, they're paying half of what they would usually pay for Uber. You should probably start using this in your places, in your cities, because this is going to drive demand like crazy, because it's going to dramatically lower the cost of transportation, especially if we're in a recession. So it becomes a big selling point for getting this technology, granted that it works in as many people's hands as humanly possible.
Interesting.
Yeah, but
it's
anyway.
Yeah, I think a lot to digest. It seems like that's on the back. It's crazy, right? Because robotaxis are so monumental. If and when we're talking about robotaxis actually coming out and starting to do what they're going to do, it almost seems like even that's on the back burner versus macro. It seems like, and macro, and by the way, Twitter noise too. I've had people comment and be like, what Twitter noise are you talking about? There is no Twitter noise, all this sort of stuff. But it's undeniable. But isn't it undeniable how noisy the whole entire market is with the Twitter noise, especially on Twitter with regards to Elon? Like, you just can't avoid it.
It's true. Yeah, I had Gary Black and Alexandra Mertz on my channel yesterday. We're talking about a lot of that in depth, and it was actually a really good discussion. But I think folks, I'm convinced, I was kind of on the other side for a little while saying like, hey, listen, like Elon's going to Elon. No one really cares. Like, folks that are invested in the company know that this is a long-term play. But like, you look at the underperformance versus the NASDAQ and other names, you're like, okay, like something's there. There has to be something there. And I think the way someone like Gary articulates those points makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, it also implies that once Elon, which we think we'll be able to do, gets Twitter to where it needs to be, and it's no longer a distraction, but instead it becomes a strength of his brand, then whatever we gave up in the last, say, 6 months to however long it's been since the whole Twitter thing came about, theoretically should spring back, plus then some, because now you have a social media platform that theoretically you can use to showcase your ability to run a business well, and you can start leveraging it to grow your personal brand plus whatever other companies you have, in this case Tesla, right? So this is short term, it's impactful, but long term it should be an add, not a negative like it is in the short term. That's how I'm starting to think and frame Twitter.
Yeah, but undeniable. In the meantime, it's going to be something that's any headline reporter is going to attach it to the headline no matter what.
For sure, it's
Tesla
so easy.
Tesla stock down because Elon Musk spending too much time at Twitter.
Yeah.
Tesla stock up because Elon banned XYZ person on Twitter. Like, it's going to be like an easy correlation kind of thing. in the
Exactly.
time being.
Think about how you build, you and I build titles and thumbnails for YouTube videos. Like it's like so easy for these guys to jump on this Twitter thing. I mean, the titles and the thumbnails write themselves, so of course it's going to drive sentiment at some point. But again, I think the ultimate long-term case here for those that are invested long-term is that the negative parts of it will become positives long-term if Elon's track record of executing at a very high level hold true, and his ability to attract a lot of top tier talent and creating really useful, valuable things for people ends up being true. Then it's, all of this will be, it's just we'll look back and be like, wow, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was a fun time, but yeah.
And he's going to appoint a CEO eventually as well. We're
That's
talking
right.
probably years down the line, I'm guessing, but eventually. So
Sure. Yeah. Hopefully sooner than later. But anyway, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to go finish
All right,
up my cleaning. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I'm going to keep listening.
Yes, sir. Take care. Peace.
Take it easy. Bye, everybody.
Awesome guy. Thank you, Farzad, for coming on. I got some questions in the chat here regarding options order flow, and I pulled that up here now. Folks, options order flow is looking hot. We're on fire here a little bit with options order flow. In the last 20-ish minutes, I guess since we started rallying, a lot of call buying happening here until close. So we'll keep an eye on that here. We got 50 minutes left here until close. Am I going to stay on for the entire time? Debatable. Tesla stock sitting at $182.72, sitting on Tesla. 95 million shares traded on the day on Tesla. Let me just get rid of this Tesla ticker off my face here. There we go. Let's play wrong answers only. Why is Tesla stock up today? Wrong answers only. Throw it in the chat here. Do whatever you want. I'm going to write it down. Wrong answers only. Why is Tesla up? For all people that might be watching on closed caption. Who knows? Put it up. Put it up in the chat. Let's do it. Maybe says, please stay on. These are the highlights of my day. I appreciate that, Maybe. Thank you so much. So kind of you. Let's see here. Because I started the stream. There we go. Not buying back stock. We should talk about buybacks after this. Thanks for reminding me. Twitter removed Trump. Opposite. Twitter added Trump back in. Joe Biden. I'll try my best. We'll see how much gas I have left in the proverbial tank. Germany lost in basketball. Germany's playing basketball right now? Wifey bought me Gigi's. There we go. Epigenetics. South Korea factory. That might be a right answer, to be honest. Markets and marketing. That's a good one, Paul. Fundamentals attacked, oversold. That's definitely a right answer only. Elon cost Twitter. Elon quit Twitter. Freudian slip. Elon quit Twitter. AOC and Elon video. Heck of Bob. Gordon bought a Tesla. I did notice he who shall not be named bought Twitter Blue. Have you guys noticed that? Does direct money... But folks, we're hitting a new high of day here. Keep putting your wrong answers in here in the chat. $183 new high of day here. I think we might hit $200 here this week. Famous last words. Mari Barra invested, says T-Mac. Again, the AOC video. Let's see here. A new batch of tequila. Did they announce that? I thought they announced those little sipping glasses. National sport to soccer. Well, you know what's funny is hold on. Oops. What's funny is a lot of people think the national sport of Canada is hockey, but I actually think it's lacrosse. So, fun fact there. Shame the Fed into a pivot. I hope so, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon. Because Elon sold today. Thanksgiving holiday. BYD raising prices. Yeah, I noticed that. BYD is raising prices. Remember, folks, be careful with BYD analysis comparatively to Tesla. BYD sells NEV vehicles, net energy efficient vehicles, and those include hybrids, right? So be careful with that. Because Herbert Diess moved to Austin. I wouldn't be surprised if that actually happened, to be honest. Dan O'Dowd, Mary Barra. Because I haven't checked the price. Exploration, it's funny you say that. I actually feel like this quite often. I feel like if I don't check the price on some days, there's more chance of it going up. Because Elon became a soccer fan. This actually might have some truth to it too. There's a lot of diehard soccer fans out there, man. As I've learned here, as I hated on soccer a little bit, apparently, because I did this live stream. Thank you, Mark. Tesla announces the ugly Christmas sweater. I'm thinking about doing an ugly Juju Tesla Christmas sweater. Let me know if there'd be any interest in that. I feel like doing like a green Christmas sweater, Tesla themed with some Jujus on it or something. At least I could rock it. I mean, at least I'd sell one of them to myself. The Tesla referral program came back. That it did. I did notice that. Yeah. Let's see here. 182.94 is sitting on Tesla here, folks. Because Joe with the great answer. Shout out Joe. Joe says because I sold covered calls. I swear that that's exactly what I mean. When we do stuff like that is when the stock decides to go up. But you know what? I always told my dad this because he had, for a brief time, my dad had this like terrible streak of trades. Like every trade was like the exact opposite of what that stock did. If he sold premium out the money on calls and puts, the stock tanked or rocketed. If he bought calls, the stock went down, vice versa. And I was like, Dad, you know how good this is? It's not that you're wrong. It's that you're so consistent that anytime you get an idea to buy, think of that as a sell signal. Anytime you think of selling, that's a bottoming. I'm like, Dad, this is great. Actually, if you think about it, you're consistently wrong. The worst thing is being consistently wrong 70% of the time. If you're consistently wrong 100% of the time, then all you got to do is just the opposite of what you think. Gary Black just priced in Robotaxi. Did he? There's no way he priced in Robotaxis. See, that's how sure I am that someone's telling David, you're telling me that he priced it and I still don't believe you. I'm gonna have to check his Twitter later. You better be cracking on that. Yeah, I don't think it'll take me that long to design it. Juju's on the Christmas tree. DJ, good idea. So a Christmas sweater with a Christmas tree and Juju's on the tree and maybe Tesla themed. I'm not sure entirely what I'd write on it, Tesla oriented. Maybe like, I guess I wanted to put like 180 sitting on Tesla, but the stock price would just not be reflective of that. So, how's it going, Gentry? There was a good trading strategy buried in there. Oh, absolutely. Because my dad sold. Now, I told my dad, you just got to hodl, man. Have you heard about the mom test? If your mom tells you something, sell it all. Actually, it's super funny because my mom, so growing up, like my mom was not a techno-nut. She stayed away from computers, didn't know how to use tech, but as you know, as time went on, like as I grew up, started using more of the iPad and then obviously her iPhone. Like now she's like a social media queen, right? Like she's posting selfies everywhere. She's very much about that life, right? And so she still doesn't use the computer very much. But so what happened was, probably I'm sharing too much here, but my dad in the last little bit, obviously with the stock market being as down as it was in January, February, my dad's been like trading, buying stocks, options his whole life. It's just kind of been a his thing, and he's tied me into it a little bit. But ever since like we kind of moved out, like my sister and I years ago, like my mom and my dad have been talking more about like actual like trading stuff than probably even my mom would like. But the beginning of this year, my dad was like, Yash, I'm going to start telling your mom about my day-to-day trades because she seems interested in talking about it. I walk in one day, I come home for dinner to my parents' house. My mom's watching CNBC on her iPad. She's on the CNBC app. I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you have no idea how shocked I was seeing my mom on the CNBC app out of all places. She's like, yeah, she's like, I'm trading now. And it's like January, February of this year. She's like, I haven't made a losing trade yet. She was like 6 or 7 trades in. My dad's telling me that she's buying like shares. Like basically my dad does all the execution, but she like orders him pretty much what to do. My dad's loving it. He's like, yeah, she's telling me to buy Airbnb. You know, it like went up. We're selling covered calls. Like she's telling me, like out of nowhere. Can you get like, I'm not sure how crazy this is. Like, she knows nothing about stocks and stuff, but she's telling me about covered calls and like puts. And I'm asking, I'm like, do you even know what this is? Do you even know what that is? She's like, no, but all I know is that like I haven't had a losing trade yet. And that was in the rally in the beginning of the year. And I was like, Mom, I hate to tell you this, but every person in the stock market is going to have their humbling times. Enjoy this winning streak you got going on, but definitely don't think this is going to happen forever. She's like, oh, what do you know? Like, I have all this skill. And now I talk to her about stocks, and, you know, it's like a whole different conversation. She's like, what happened to the stock market? The Fed sucks. Why do they keep raising rates? They're bringing everything down. Elon's distracted with Twitter. I'm like, where are you getting these narratives? And I like look on CNBC site, and it's like a 1-for-1 repetition of what CNBC headlines are. And I'm like, Dad, Mom, you can't be reading these headlines. Like, anyways, it's just a whole 180 this year from my parents on my trading. It's actually quite funny though, to be honest. Because if you're gonna lose money, you might as well enjoy it in the process. Hashtag bag holders quotes. So, okay, folks, 183.25 sitting on Tesla here, 50 cents away here from the high of day. Shirt idea, really red background, white Tesla logo, down 16%, with a poop emoji and a juju sitting on the Tesla logo. The thing is, I stay away from putting Tesla logos and stuff on my merch, because I just feel like even though I feel like Tesla themselves wouldn't care, I just feel like all I'm really doing there is stealing their copyrighted logo and just selling it for a profit. So I'm a little bit careful with that, but I know people do it, so I'm not sure about the ethical aspect of that. So yeah, my parents need to follow Tesla Daily You and Tesla Comments. I mean, my dad used to watch a lot of these videos in the earlier life of the channel, but I don't think he does anymore too much. My dad is more of a headline reader than a in-depth Tesla investor. He loves Tesla, loves Elon, but he's more of an in-depth. He's more of a headline reader per se. Yeah, no kidding. Anyone in Seeking Alpha? I don't know what that means. I don't think so. Oh, do they read anyone? No, I don't think so. Don't think so. You know, Seeking Alpha actually approached me to do a partnership with the channel, and I had to like email them back just to confirm if it was real. I was like, really? Like, I don't think I actually ever replied to them. You just have a tree sitting on the Tesla logo. Interesting. Yeah, sure. Are you worried at all that Elon gets annoyed with the whining, the whining? Sorry, from the sorry, Freudian slip there. Hey, from the whining from Tesla shareholders that made their names / bags off Tesla on the way up and step backs. Are you worried at all that Elon gets annoyed? I 100% think he's annoyed by people commenting like Tesla's weak. Stop talking about Twitter. All this. I 100% think he's annoyed by it for sure. I don't think there's anything you can do about it. Again, like I said, if Tesla was the only stock down in the year, be a different narrative altogether. Year to date, pulling up Tesla, and I don't want to do it again. I do it all the time, and you guys hate when I do it. But year to date, Tesla's within its beta. Yes, it's true. In the last month, 2 months, Tesla's been very weak, relatively speaking, versus the Nasdaq. But maybe that's just evening out for the year. I don't know. So, all I want for Christmas is a Tesla. Thank you, Kenton. Yeah, and I'm guessing this is about the Tesla logo. I don't know. I'd much rather design something myself, put it out, you know, because I feel like people would buy it just thinking it's like because it's a Tesla logo. So, Tesla's up because he who shall not be named raises price target up 1,000 points. Wrong answer is only. Marco's answer is Tesla's up because CNBS said something bullish for Tesla for once. I mean, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I mean, I will say when CNBS does talk good about Tesla, it's a really good sign because they Because you remember the last time they spoke good about Tesla was October of last year, end of September, when they were like, we see Tesla as $1,000 stock. We see Tesla as a 4-digit company, 4-digit stock. And what happened? Tesla rallied from like 800 something to over $1,000, $1,200 back then. So Paul says maybe he needs a new comp package. Yeah, I mean, I can get on this bandwagon with the comp package. Although I don't think Elon's incentivized by it, but I 100% think, I mean, okay, look, the people that are against this will say, look, Elon owns so many Tesla shares. That's his comp package. He's converted all of his options, blah, blah, blah. But I think investors probably look at the lack of compensation package and they go, okay, could there be something here? So I agree. Trading is mid has a great handle, by the way. Has a super interesting philosophical question, and everyone should answer this in the chat. Yeah, actually, let's say by some miracle of imagination that Apple stock fell to $10 tomorrow. Would you sell all of your Tesla and buy Apple, or would you stick with Tesla? If Apple fell to $10 tomorrow and nothing else fell in this hypothetical scenario, if Apple fell to, what market cap would that be? If Apple fell to 240, actually even less than that, $200 billion market cap tomorrow, and there was no news, and it just fell for no apparent reason whatsoever, and I didn't think there was anything wrong with the company, and it was just like a glitch, yes, you would have to sell everything you have to put into Apple at $150 billion market cap company. Even if it went up to $1 trillion within the week, you'd like 10x your money right there. Like, and I guess the tax was the only thing there. But I mean, if you're 10xing, Apple is a $2.5 trillion company. If it went to $200 billion tomorrow and nothing changed, yes. I just don't see how you wouldn't. Of course, if Apple had some sort of bad news, different story. But if nothing happened, it was a glitch in the system in this hypothetical scenario, yes. Come on. And then I'd buy back way more Tesla once Apple would retreat to where it actually is fairly valued as a company. I'd get like 10x more shares or something, or whatever, right? Like it's just instant alpha. You would have to, because look, in the long haul, you would get more Tesla from it. As a Tesla bull, I don't have any Apple. But as a Tesla bull, if I can get 5 times more shares just by making this Apple trade that fell $10, Apple's at $151. Like, and again, I know obviously hypothetical, but you asked. You have to. Okay, that's actually a really good point. Maybe what you do is you don't even sell anything and you just buy calls. Good point. Maybe that's what I would do. But you would need capital for that. And that's where the question would come in. Gonzalez says, I would not sell my Tesla, but I would go into margin for the first time to get $10 Apple. I would look at that purely as a trade, 100%. But again, this is implying, folks, Apple is making the same amount of money it's making today. Everything's the same, but it fell to $10 because of some sort of glitch. And if nickel went down to 1 cent, yeah, no kidding. $10 Apple means bankrupt company. Well, Apple doesn't really need the stock price to be very high. In fact, I don't think really it's collateralized a lot of its debt based on equity as well. So, yeah, exactly. Mickey says it's a question: would I push away emotions for a stock to make more profits? Look, exactly. But in this case, this hypothetical case that we're arguing about, it's such a sure bet. If Apple is $10 tomorrow and nothing is different, that is like I don't know of anything closer to a guaranteed alpha at that point. I just don't know. $10, like, of course, this is hypothetical, but that's of course, if you're like, oh, if Apple fell 20% tomorrow, different story. Then I would, okay, maybe Apple's undervalued again, and go through the DCF, go through the moats. Apple at 10, basically 8 cents on the dollar is a different scenario. DRK, You're asking these questions are too proper for our hypothetical scenario. Even we're just saying, let's say it's everything's legit as a part of this hypothetical scenario. Are we really discussing this dream scenario? Yes, dream scenarios is the key here. $183.14 sitting on Tesla. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for coming on a impromptu Wednesday live stream. Can we qualify this as power hour? I think we kind of can, right? Because Friday, I don't think we get power hour because I don't think the market's open from 12 p.m. Pacific to 1 p.m. Pacific. I think the market closes at 10. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Tomorrow, the market's closed. So I guess we could probably classify this as the power hour stream for the week. Although I don't know that for a fact. Someone let me know in the comments. Can I stay until close? Should I stay until close? I was thinking about wrapping it up. Got half an hour here. What should we talk about, though? Let's see. The 10-year is going down, hey? A little bit. Let's see. Okay, let's just stay. Whatever. Half an hour, let's do it. I wasn't planning on staying this long, to be honest. It's been an hour and a half already. Let's just do it. Let's just have fun. Let's pretend it is a Friday. Thanks for sticking around. Farzad just blackmailed me. He said, stay, I just pimped you out on Twitter. Let's pull up this pimping out of Yash on Twitter. Come join us. Well, is this false advertising? You're not on the stream. I mean, you're more than welcome to come on the stream. Thank you for tweeting that out, my friend. Appreciate that. Any sort of news here? Actually, I pulled up Gary's tweet here. I am on the stream. Oh, well, how about now? Okay. Okay, hold on one sec. I'm gonna pull up Gary's tweet about Twitter. Let's put this thing up here. How about that? Okay. Gary says investors starting to look past the Twitter noise as Tesla is too cheap. A Tesla bull says Musk is digging a deeper hole at Twitter. For now, EV sales might not matter. How does that make any sense? Elon Musk's antics, says Connor Smith on Twitter, have often affected Tesla shares. Oh, really? But the billionaire's controversial ownership of the platform has created an overhang. There is the overhang. Drink. On the electric vehicle company's stock that has proved difficult for even Tesla bulls to shake. Oh, really? Dan Ives, who rates Tesla stock at an outperform with a $250 price target, wrote in a note on Wednesday that while he is steadfastly bullish on Tesla's growth prospects over the next few years, he thinks the cloud related to Twitter will persist until Musk finds a way to reassure investors. Ives pulled Tesla from his best ideas list earlier this month, citing concerns about Twitter. Dan says, quote, the Twitter circus shows the Twitter circus show continues to go on with Musk laser focused on turning around this troubled platform while creating controversy on a daily basis. The problem is, while the PR twilight zone of Twitter happens for the world to see and advertisers remain at bay, while Musk wildcard of content moderation is front and center, the perceived overhang, drink again, of a key person risk with Musk is a real overhang on Tesla stock and not abating. That was quite a bit to say. I'm going to go down to what Gary has to say on this. Whoops. Hold on one sec here, folks. Clicked on a couple extra things I shouldn't have clicked on here. I mean, okay, drop a comment down below. Do you think we have a Twitter overhang, yes or no? I'll run a poll. How about that? A good old poll. Actually, hold on. There's a Q&A here. Hold on. Hold on. Start Q&A. Drop your questions below. Interesting. I've never used this feature on Twitter, on YouTube. Okay, so in the Twitter comments, I've got a questions list. Drop your questions below. If you got any Q&A, throw it in there. We'll see if I can pull it up. I've never used this feature before. But you guys are saying yes. no, yes. So this is what I'm saying. It's split, man. Yes, 100% there's a Twitter overhang. If you measure Tesla stock, oh, I'm on Sawyer's page here. If you measure Tesla stock performance in the last little bit, epic. Okay. If you measure Tesla stock performance in the last little bit, then 100% you can make the argument that there's been an overhang in the last like month-ish of Tesla. But if you pull up the yearly, like I said on the beta, then it's a little bit more dicey. Actually, I'll pull it up here. So year to date, let's do a couple comparisons. Let's add in the NASDAQ. Let's add in Apple. I've done this a million times. You guys hate me already for this. Let's pull it up. So Tesla stock in the last month is down 13%, where Apple and the NASDAQ are green. In the last 6 months, Tesla is down 12%. Again, Apple and NASDAQ are green. Year to date, Tesla is down a beta-ish of 2 off the NASDAQ, which is pretty much in line. So the biggest thing with multiple contraction, I'm going to pull up my back of the napkin argument because I see someone saying that they like data and the data junkie. I agree with that. So I'm going to pull up my back of the napkin model that I always pull up when I have some time to kill. So the reasons why multiples exist, the reasons why we fear recessions, is because of this number right here, demand. We look at demand and we go, is demand going to go down from interest rates going up on the marginal level maybe? Is demand going to go down from the recession at the marginal level maybe? I think the biggest thing to consider though in the next couple of years, and we talk about multiples and all this sort of stuff, in 2025, Tesla, with the 50% growth rate off of unit deliveries, is, I have them pegged at 4.738. Let's just call that a run rate until 2026, and let's discount that back. So at an ASP of 50K, that's about $236 billion of rev, 20% margin, that's about $50 billion of profit. Multiple of 50, and again, the multiple of 50 I'm getting because I'm pegging it at 1 to get a 1 peg off of 50% EPS growth, which Tesla's been way higher than that. You get a PE of 50, duh. Basic math, even math I can do. And you look at an EPS of 2025 of 15. I'm not sure where I got this from. Hold on. Shares outstanding. I think I updated shares outstanding as well. 3.13. Is that right? Someone tell me. Is that right? Shares outstanding on Tesla. Pull up that on Yahoo Finance. Let's see what they got. Financials. No, actually, it's probably going to be in statistics. It was just there. Shares outstanding. 3.16 billion. Let's just change this to 3.16 billion. So EPS about 15-ish bucks. So all in all, if you look at the market cap, of course, 50 PE multiplied by the profit, and this is just cars that you're modeling here. It's about 2.4 trillion. But again, $2.4 trillion in 2025 or even 2026 is not worth $2.4 trillion today. The 10-year yield, let's say at 4%, a risk factor of 8, total discount rate of 12%, and you discount that back, let's say across 4 pay periods, not 3, you get to $1.5 trillion with these metrics and that discount rate and these assumptions today, with a price target of 476 currently. This is excluding FSD. I used to have FSD actually a part of here because I used to look at the existing fleet number of 100 million cars. Let's say in 2030, actually, what year is this? So let's subtract out to 2030. So in 2030, total cars fleet 2030. Let's say all things go right. Tesla has 77 million cars in the fleet in 2030. What's subscription price in the States? Is that $299 per month? $299, right? So if you take that and you multiply the existing fleet by $299 a month, and you have a take rate of, someone give me a take rate in the comments. Someone give me a take rate. What would be FSD take rate in in 2030. FSD take rate for subscription, $200 a month. Sorry, $299 must have been the Canadian. So $199 per month, 50%. I think that's too high. 1%, that might be too low. 33% probably too high. Let's say 10. Let's say 10. You guys are saying, some people are saying 10 or 15. Okay, I can live with 10. Let's say 10 is bearish, right? By 2030, remember, this is assuming that 2030 we're gonna have way better FSD today than in 2030, where you're going to want to pay this, right? And the price doesn't go up. Let's say it's 10% of the fleet. Now, remember, the entire fleet is probably not eligible. 15% of the fleet probably already has the FSD full package. So let's discount this by 85. Let's just put that factor in there. Let's say only 85% of the fleet is eligible. We get to about again, this kind of gets nutty, right? When we talk about this sort of stuff. So I'm trying to dampen it a little bit almost. And let me know what assumptions you think I'm missing here. So at, I did a 10% take rate. Oh, hold on. Actually, let me just do this. Let's do take rate, 10%. Let's do cars eligible. I can't spell. Definitely spelled that wrong. I got dyslexia, so pardon me. Okay, 85%. And let's just factor this into our model here. So 85% and 10% of the fleet. Okay, so let's factor that in and we can adjust these numbers and play with them here. Okay. So this is nutty revenue, right? We talk about nutty revenue. And this is MRR, monthly recurring revenue. We can do ARR. Even it's so basic, even Yash can do it. Just multiply by 12. Again, it kind of gets nutty, right? It just kind of gets nutty. Okay, and let's just lower these decimal factors a little bit. Apologies for the data. I just like going through data if we can. And again, we can test our assumptions here, right? So we're looking at $1.3 billion of MRR, $15.8 billion of ARR, based on a 10% take rate and 85% of cars eligible. Let's say FSD is so good in 2030, like you guys are saying, we're closer to 25% take rate. We get to $40 billion. At $40 billion, if we put the same market cap, same PE off of this as we did up here, this is the market cap of FSD. Again, very crude metric. You can't really value it in and of itself, but I'm gonna. So market cap of FSD at these price. Oh, and I probably should put in price as well. So let's put in 199. Price per month, 199 a month. I'm just gonna factor that in so we can play with it as well. So 199 a month. These are the numbers that we get to. Almost a $2 trillion market cap for FSD. Again, if these assumptions hold and we give it a 50 PE. Thoughts on this? Nutty. Yes, nutty indeed. PE is too high. Fair enough. What PE do you want to give it? Throw in a PE in the chat. For just the FSD software subscription side, what multiple would you give a software company? And again, I guess another assumption here is profit, is margin. I'm assuming 90% profit margin here. It's just software, folks. I mean, just variable cost here, really. Maybe we go lower. Let's go 80%. Okay. What PE? Okay, PE 25. Okay, 30, 25. Okay, that's fair. 23. Let's do 25. Just keep it basic. Let's do 25 PE. This is fun. Thanks for being interactive with me here, folks. So 25 PE. Okay, so off of these assumptions, I guess I got to add in margin as well. So ARR is this, MRR is this, market cap is that. I'm just gonna discount. I'm just gonna take our ARR, and I'm just gonna get the margin based off of it, and then multiply it. I guess it doesn't matter, bed math. But Okay, so that's our market cap with these assumptions. At a 20, so in 2030, this is again, you're only as smart as your assumption. I just got to move my fat head, hey. You're only as smart as your assumptions, or your model is only as good as your assumptions are. Let's get rid of this stupid name in front of my face. Okay, let's do it. At a 25% take rate in 2030. Okay, let's just start from the top. Total cars in the fleet. Hold on, let me just do number, plain text. Number. Okay, decimal slower. With 77.8 million cars in Tesla's fleet in 2030, let's say end of 2030, and 25% of them taking on FSD subscription at 85% of that fleet, taking on 85% of that fleet, and then 25% of that fleet taking on FSD subscription. Because remember, people have already bought FSD here. At $199 a month, a 25 PE, and 80% assuming 80% margin, FSD, just the package, forget about robotaxis, the package itself, market cap, a very crude metric, is 800 billion. Again, a lot of assumptions here, but are we guessing closing price? Yes, let's do it. Let's do our closing price guessing game. Let's do a closing price guessing game. Throw in the chat. Remember, Price is Right rules. You have to guess at or under to win the virtual Juju prize. Throw in the chat. I'm going to say, by the way, Tesla's sitting on 182.76. I'm going to say $183 flat today. That's my guess. So again, these are my assumptions. You guys can give me some assumptions here if you guys want me to change some stuff. Let's just do, and yeah, Ron says if FSD is good, take rate will be much higher. That's what I'm thinking. So let's say take rate, let's say everything goes sideways. Take rate's only 5%. Let's say FSD never happens in 2030, but FSD package is good enough for like little party tricks and backing out, and maybe there's free supercharging, and Tesla can still charge $199 for it. Let's say it's 5%. Just bear with me here. Let's just see what that would be worth, right? At 5%, 85% of cars eligible, 25 PE, 80% margin. Tesla's FSD package at that point would be worth $150 billion. Again, this is not discounted as well. I should probably clarify that. We can discount this back if we want, but $150 billion in 2030. Tesla's current market cap is $577 billion. Freudian slip. So if we start playing with more nuttier numbers and we say, okay, FSD, let's say, comes to fruition by 2030, 33% of the fleet subscribes to FSD subscription because they make money off of it and everyone Ubers their car. Again, 15% of the fleet already has FSD as a full lifetime package by then. And this also accounts for like cars getting totals and stuff like that, right? At $199, you can also make the argument that if FSD is solved, $199 is probably too low, right? No, like I feel like $199 would be too low at that point. I need to insure so insurance. Insurance is a little bit more difficult to model out. A lot of people bought it already. That's why I have 85. So I have 85% of cars eligible. I have 15% of the fleet buying the lifetime package. That's what I've been counting for there. Margin too high? I don't think so. If Tesla sells an additional package on my phone and I buy it, it doesn't cost them anything. I think 80% is probably generous. Can you do an Excel masterclass? I love Excel. That's the thing. Ron says at least $299 per month. That's the thing. If FSD is solved, would you not think this would also go up? Like if you can Uber your car, you would only have to Uber for one night to pay off your cost. That's when we get into the real nutty territory, right? We get into the $1.5 trillion for FSD package worth off of these assumptions. The 33% take rate, 15% of people already have the lifetime package, $299 a month, 25 PE. Maybe PE is too high. Maybe it's at 20. Maybe margin is too high. Let's go to 60% margin for a software company. That'd be kind of low. Let's put that in. That's still $1 trillion in 2030. Of course, you got to discount this back as well. So we got to discount that back. I guess we could probably discount that back using my formula here. Hold on. Let's just discount this to the power of 4. This multiplied by Too many apostrophes here. Hold on one sec. Let's do that. Hold on, my apostrophes are missing. Hold on. 1 plus E12. So 1 power of 4. Should it not be? There we go. Negative power of 4. Okay. So discounted back. I'm sure they have a discount Excel thing, but I just don't know off the top of my head. Discounted market cap. Let's do that. What am I missing here? Hold on. How many pay periods? Is it 4 pay periods? Yes. Okay, 4 pay periods. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So $600 billion of a market cap. What if they license it? Yes. I mean, 100%. 100% if they license it. If we get into licensing, that's kind of a different nutty territory that we can talk about for sure. Yeah, I mean, if they license it at, what would you license it at? $99 a month per car, per legacy auto that wants to buy it? Yeah, I mean, maybe license it to Hertz or Uber like you're saying there. Yeah, I mean, maybe 100%. I guess we don't even have to get into the licensing. Like, we look at the market cap, discounted market cap FSD. I should probably clarify that, right? In 2030, and that's 2022. Actually, no, hold on. It's not 4 pay period. I gotta discount this more. Hold on. It's actually probably 6 or 7 pay periods back. So 2029, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 8 pay periods back. Actually, 8's probably conservative enough. But let's do that. Again, this is not robo-taxi. This is a different way of modeling for FSD. This is me saying, okay, forget about robo-taxis and charging by the mile, and forget about licensing even to other automakers for now. If Tesla has a package that's worth $199 per month, they have 78 million cars almost in 2030 that they could potentially have subscribed to this. What would be the take rate for that? What would, just with what they have currently, right? Just with what they have currently. FSD license way bigger TAM. Yeah. I'm not really trying to make this how big can I go? Because I can go huge, right? Like if FSD is what FSD is going to be in 2030, you can see a scenario with 50% take rates, charging $599 a month for FSD because it's worth it. You're making money off of it. And 25 PE is probably okay, even a 70% margin. Then we get into like really nutty territory, right? $4.1 trillion market cap in 2030, discounted back 1.7 just for FSD, not for robo-taxis even. So you can make this as nutty as you want, really. So just my back of the napkin. I hope you enjoyed that. It's just kind of brain ideas here. Brain dumps worth of ideas. Insurance is, I have a hot take on insurance. You guys know this. 183.25 sitting on Tesla, by the way. I have a hot take on insurance. Run insurance at a loss leader at break even. Don't worry about don't worry about making money off of insurance. Use that as a leverage point to capture more demand for your cars as we scale from 5 million cars a year to 10 million to hopefully one day 20 million cars. Look at what happened in China with this whole insurance promotion, which, by the way, Blue on Discord, shout Blue, has been really diving into this like China no demand story. Troy Teslike is saying, okay, well, these insurance companies or Tesla is doing like an insurance promo. If you take delivery, you're going to get like 8,000 won off or whatever. Blue brought up on our Discord in our discussion, which, by the way, if you haven't already, go join our Discord, become a Patreon. $5 a month gets you in. Great discussions in there. He said, look, who's paying for this promo, this 8,000 won? Are we just assuming it's Tesla? Or is it kind of like an Apple Verizon thing where, Verizon can sponsor a lot of these iPhone purchases and give it to consumers at the end of the day because they're going to use their company for the phone. So we don't know per se who's paying, who's funding for this discount is kind of the point here, right? Luke says insurance cost is close to zero if car stays on FSD. So FSD eliminates insurance costs. The more worse the more and worse you drive, the higher insurance will be. True. There will always be some cost. And remember, people will always have to pay something for insurance, right? But again, look at it this way. Forget about robotaxis in this hypothetical thought experiment. Think about it this way. You're buying a car. The year is 2028. You're getting rid of your gas car. You're going in to buy an electric car. You can buy a Tesla that is, let's say, a little bit more expensive than your Nissan Leaf equivalent, or your Chevy or your Ford Mach-E, Mustang Mach-E. You could pay a little bit more for the Tesla, but the Tesla lets you buy Tesla insurance. And as it stands right now, insurance is costing you $300 a month. If you buy the Mach-E, you're still going to pay $300 a month. If you buy the Tesla, you can now subscribe to Tesla insurance, which you can subscribe to for $99 a month. All of a sudden now, the cost of ownership immediately from day one has gone down $200. By the way, these are my numbers, really, that I'm hoping for. And you can buy this Tesla that now discounts your monthly insurance payment by $200. If that's the case, really the Tesla's not more expensive, right? If you actually do the math. So if you talk about Tesla having to hit demand levers to get from 5 million to 10 million to 15 to 20 million cars sold, the insurance is such a moat. If Tesla is able to gather all this fleet data in a way that they can perfectly model insurance pricing and premiums so that you're not paying $1 more than you should, and they can sell that to you, and they cannot go bankrupt doing it, because there's some companies that offer discount insurance, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to claims, they don't give you anything. And eventually, a couple years later, a lot of them will go bankrupt because they can't afford to pay out their claims. If Tesla can perfectly model it, I am super jealous. $88 a month for insurance? What state or I guess what country are you in? $80. How much are you guys paying for insurance? Throw in the chat. I'm at $250 a month. It's just crazy. Oh, Sweden. Okay. Wow. You said ouch to that? $80 a month? That is not ouch. Wow, you guys are low. Okay, well, JL's kind of here with me. 158 with Tesla insurance. There we go. Griffin says Tesla insurance for 140. $600 a year. 36. 230. Is this a month? This has got to be a month. How's it going, Grav? That's BC no fault. Yeah, you know about that, hey? Yeah. Everyone knows about the BC no fault. $150 in Ottawa. Wow. $400 a year. What is wrong with our province? I am paying $250 a month. $150 of that, I think, is like ICBC, and then the rest is optional insurance. Yeah. Just crazy, folks. Final score, Griffin says, Belgium 1-0 over Canada. Am I upset? No. Do I care? Not really. Will I act outraged about this later on social media and pretend like the game was stolen from us? Probably. Wow, you guys are really on like different pay schedule. Yeah, insurance is super high in BC. It's too high, I agree. Interesting. Well, 183.08 sitting on Tesla. We got 3 minutes left here till close. Oh, you know what I never did? I never went back to drop your comments here below. Okay. Have you seen Elon's newest meme? Yes, I did see that. I don't think it's appropriate for me to pull it up on stream. Al says, Yash, if you're 100% sure that Tesla would be at 550 within a year or two, would you sell a Leap 550 put and realize the gain today? The problem with selling out or in the money puts there is that you're not really getting a lot of time premium day by day because it's in the money. I mean, I think there are better bets to potentially make. Like you could sell out the money puts. In the money put would take up too much margin, or I guess you'd have cash on hand there, but I don't know. And again, what is 100% certain in this market at this point, especially within a year or two? Pietri says, will the 4680 be better than the 2170 within a year? I think we're all hoping so. By spring of next year, I think we should hopefully get some updates on that. How are people paying less than $100? Try more than 250. It's just crazy. Where do you see the stock in a year? This is where I'm hoping the next 3 to 6 months we just settle down. That's all. 3 months flatline, recover from there. I think the market needs to see the Fed pausing rates before we see a big bull market come through back again. But I think that could happen, the pausing of rates within the next 3 to 6 months here. Maybe I'm wrong. Why does everyone make, Kevin King says, why does everyone make such a big deal about Elon selling? When he does, it's a 1 to 3 day event, has temporary effect. I think the communication was the bigger aspect this time, when he said in August that he was selling then because he wanted to avoid emergency sale later, and then come a month or two later, he's selling again. I think that was the biggest thing. It wasn't so much that he was selling. Like, if you watch my video, there's the bell. I'm on record to say Elon can do whatever the hell he wants to sell shares legally. He's the founder. Like, and he's still owning a huge percentage of Tesla, right? $183.20 closing on Tesla for the day. Look at that. Folks, our first big green day in a while, 7.8% up on the day. On a day where the NASDAQ actually wasn't too hot. NASDAQ was only up 1% on the day. So really good relative strength on Tesla today. Maybe it's about the South Korean rumors. Maybe it's about the upgrades. To be honest, I don't necessarily know. Volume is 108 million. Let's find out who won this contest. So we had Ron, who guessed 103.01. Exploration, 103.12. So far, that's our current winner. Cindy's a little bit over. Who else we got here? Ron's over. Jonas is over as well. Mark's over. Brianar is over as well. Paul's over. Renee's over as well. Oh no, Renee's under at 09 cents. Corey came close at 11 cents. Let's see. Primary Price is Right rules gets everyone, folks. It gets the best of us. Tesla bot, Kevin, Samir, all close but no cigar. 68 cents on Bayless. Let's see here. 11 cents. Nope. Peter's close. Mimi was over 44 cents. Ooh, Dan Lance was close. 109, 16. I think that's our winner here. 25. 27. That is our winner. Hold on. Let me just make sure that I don't miss anyone here. That's our winner. Exploration. Congrats. You have won our Tesla closing price guessing game. Price is Right rules. This time. Let me just make sure here. Let me just read the chat. There you go. I'll throw some virtual Juju prize at you later. I guess we can we qualify this as our Power Hour stream for the week? Or do I have to do a impromptu stream on Friday's market open or something? I don't know. Hit subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you want that or not. I guess we'll see. If you're watching replay as well, let me know. Well, much love. Thank you everyone for joining in for another awesome Power Hour impromptu. 600 people joining on 2 minutes notice. I think Friday is a half day. Jacob says, Yash, when will you do a real prize for the closing price? Jacob, that's a great question. If there's any sponsors in here, companies, if anyone wants it to be your company's sponsored closing price guessing game, for example, Tesla closing price guess game presented to you by XYZ company. For all your best XYZ products, visit XYZ company. If anyone wants to sponsor it, we can work out a deal. And maybe even better off, the XYZ company can send someone a prize every week on the winner. I wouldn't mind coordinating that as well. Awesome. Okay, much love, everyone. Be well. Happy Thanksgiving. Merry Thanksgiving, whatever you want to call it. Subscribe on your way out. Join Patreon if you want to help support the channel. It gets you Discord access, which, for better or for worse, is the place to be quite honest. I'll show it here. It's the place you want to be for the best news, best community. I'm biased in the Tesla sphere. Positivity only. So if you're going to join, please bring the positivity. Let me just get rid of this. Actually, hold on one sec. 183.20 said no on Tesla. Don't eat too much. Like Mimi says, yes, indeed. Keep it light. Remember, go spend time with friends, family. Use this excuse. Don't be checking news, stocks, and stuff like that. Maybe if I post something, watch it. But go spend some time with family. Merry Thanksgiving. Be grateful. I'm grateful for you guys in the community that we have here. Thank you guys. Take care. I'll catch you in the next one. Yash, you're signing off. Peace.